With regards to Division, is there such a thing as original content anymore? No. Now, I do have a script for this, however, I also like going on complete tangents, and these tangents are possibly going to be quite salty, so apologies for that. And it's not going to be, I'm salty because I dislike these people, it's going to be salty because I used to teach primary school children of the age of 8, and they have more common sense than this. If you're going to throw shit at me, have an IQ in the double digits, and make sure a 2-minute Google doesn't prove you wrong. So, I dabbled in the old PvP for the first time ever, posting this video 20 hours ago, and near enough immediately I was accused of copying the build. One says 10 months, one says 2 years, not sure if this person knows how timescales work, but could be a bit of an issue there. Now honestly, the most insulting part out of all of this is he still manages to fuck up my name. It's 3 letters, how you mess this up is actually beyond me. But still, stealing builds. Now, the evidence that he has provided is 10 months ago. Okay. Here's one from a year ago. And another one. Another one. Like, if I copied you, who'd you copy? We've got another one. This one is from 2 years ago. Yeah. There's no such thing as original content anymore in the Division. The only part that's actually going to be original is how you deliver it. Here's another thing, like one of 2 content creators with a tip of the spear PvP build, blah. Really? Only one of 2? So if I go to YouTube and type in Division 2 tip of the spear PvP build, I'm only going to find 2 videos. Well, there's 2. And neither of them are yours or your friends, because I know who you're talking about. One of whom is older than yours as well, so he was before you. And then here's the real kicker, a year ago. Yeah. And then just to rub it in, 10 months ago, which are, again, both before yours. Yours was 8 months ago. So who are you copying? Now, you might find this hard to believe, but I've said it on repeat, just in case you weren't listening. I do PvE. I'm a PvE player. I'm a PvE endgame farmer. Look, I'm at 11k, I have no life, I don't touch grass, I sit here, I play video games, and I poke my wife's butt giggling like a 5-year-old. What part of any of that makes you think that I spend any of my time watching your videos that are specifically about PvP? Like, if you genuinely think I sat there and watched your videos, and I'm afraid to tell you, you are the winner of the extra chromosome. The whole original content concept within the Division 2 is basically dead. The only way in which it can be original is going to be the delivery of the content. A lot of people have told me that my content is quite original for the Division 2. I can kind of see this, but it's also in my head completely false. I've said on repeat, I am literally just a glorified parrot. A lot of the information that I have and that I go over and put into videos is information that has been out there for a very long time, well before I started making Division 2 content. One of the base principles I use is IKEA spreadsheets. They were posted on the 12th of June 2021. They're like over 2 years old. Now, you could argue I am slightly original in the fact of I'm probably, potentially, I don't actually know, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone said that I am the first Division 2 content creator to go this in depth into the math and put it into a YouTube video. That's like the key part, and put it into a YouTube video. I am certainly not the first to go this in depth into the Division 2 math. We have Rousey, Hutchler, IKEA, Dispatch, Blake Morris, Frost. There are so many that I don't even know them all, though we all tend to get along pretty damn well, because when we see each other's work, we're like, aha, hi. Now, one of the reasons we don't go around saying that we've stolen or claiming each other's work, etc., is for a few reasons. One, we're bloody adults. 2, because we all use pretty much the exact same formulas and we work off of each other and correct and inform each other of all of our work, when I sit there and do a bunch of silly math equations and turn around and go, no, measured is actually certifiably crap, and then a bunch of people go, no, and then Dispatch will put out a video doing the exact same equations, maybe from a different angle, blah, 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 and goes, no, measured is certifiable crap, and then IKEA will turn around and do the exact same thing, measured is certifiable crap. Rousey will then do the exact same thing, no, it's certifiable crap. You now have a collection of people that have delved into the math, come at it from different angles, and they've all come to the same conclusion. This is essentially how science works. This is how things like gravity were discovered. You all credit each other, you give credit where credit is due, no one claims anything, and by the end of it, you have a certifiable, published result that is pretty much as close to the actual fact as we are currently able to determine. There may be things that change in the future, things that may need to be revisited depending on different algorithms or other things that are being put into the equation, future updates, etc., etc., etc. But we all work together, lending credit to each other's work. If I just come out and say Optimist is the worst talent in the game, no one's going to believe me. If you then start seeing a few other content creators turn around and go Optimist is the worst talent in the game, and they're able to back up their claims with math and findings and numbers and blah blah blah, eventually, hopefully, in a civilized society, when people that have an IQ above 2 will go, well actually yeah, Optimist is like the worst talent in the game. It isn't, it's just a very bad example on my side. Then we have to look into just the sheer number of content creators within any given game. See, annoyingly, niche games such as The Division 2 end up with like a weird content creator monopoly. If you go to YouTube right now and just type in The Division 2, the first like 4 or 5 pages are just the same recycled crap from KVD, Tuxedo Bandito, Running Butcher, Rogue Gold, etc., etc. It's just the same people. They have the monopoly on The Division 2. They've worked for it, they have the most subscribers, etc., etc. When they put videos out, they will tend to get the most views. Other content creators that don't have this subscriber count are completely buried. And there's actually, you'd be surprised just how many there are. Daily, I come across other content creators who I have no idea who they are. And I'm like, actually, that was a pretty good video. That was actually quite well done. And I learned something. But the reality is we very seldom actually interact with each other. So the idea of purposefully copying someone's content is actually so almost pathetic. Simply just because a lot of us don't actually have the time to even look at other YouTube videos, let alone sit there and genuinely bloody copy it. It's just not really going to happen. And due to the fact that there is a defined limitation of how much you're actually able to do in this game, it is going to be beyond numerous how many times you're able to go to different content creators that have most likely never even heard of each other and near enough come across the exact same build. There might be some differences, like it could be the exact same build, but one person's running Carbine 7, one person's running ACR, another person's running FAMAS. Little Johnny over in the corner's got an Eagle Bearer because nobody loves him, which also brings me to the point of, in the video that I did, I was running a Vector with Sadist, and apparently the build I copied was a Carbine 7 with Optimist. Now, I am not saying that there haven't been times where something has been very blatantly copied. I can at least think of one when a friend of mine, another content creator, put out a video on how to do things like chopper skips and interactions with the speedrunning mechanics, and then 16 hours later, I believe it was, someone else has put out pretty much the exact same identical video, exact same structure, exact same mechanics, exact same title, but this person was also not known within the speedrunning community, so the only way they would have had any knowledge on how to do this was if they watched that video in the first place. It does happen. Now, my friend said he had no issues with his video being copied, etc, etc. The more people that know about this sort of thing, ideally the better. The only part he was annoyed at was he wasn't credited with any of it. Now, the thing with crediting someone is you have to have knowledge of it coming from that person. I personally feel I do a pretty good job with crediting others. Literally about 2 hours ago, put up a video crediting Rousey with a correction because I made a boo-boo in a video. I have direct knowledge that I screwed up because I openly said from the start, I'm not quite sure how this works. This is my best guess. Rousey came in and gave me the exact information I needed. This information came from Rousey. I will credit Rousey. I have no dramas with crediting people and sending those people to the original video, to the original content creator that came up with the original concept and went through the original principles of the build, etc, etc. However, if I have no idea that you've done something like this, even if I know that you exist, but if I have no idea that you have done something even remotely like this, I'm not going to credit you. Simply just because if I credit you, that means I've got about another 50 people on YouTube that I have to look up and credit you. I've credited Hutchler with work, I've credited Rousey with work, I've credited IKEA, I've credited Dispatch. These are all people that I sit here and I talk to regularly and go through a variety of different things to get the content that I actually make. I'm not going to sit there and go, I've got an idea, I wonder who else has done it, and then just credit them, because that's not how crediting or citing someone actually works. Now, just on a point of me just being spiteful because I typically like being spiteful at least once in one of my videos, going into plagiarism laws, etc, etc, there are a plethora of different caveats, and one of them is called academic dishonesty. And this is quite interesting. I would like you all to meet George. George says gravity is real. Offers no proof, nothing. Just says gravity is real. 10 years later though, Barry says gravity is real, here is the proof. And then does math stuff and proves gravity is real. Who do you think gets the credit? Who do you think legally gets the credit and who legally needs to shut the fuck up? See, despite the fact that George was first, because he offered no proof, it's just a concept. Concepts cannot be stolen. They're like ideas. Until you do the execution of it and provide the evidence, it is just an idea. And no, before someone says just making the build isn't the execution, because typically these builds will come along with a collection of buzzwords and caveats. New meta, one-man army, best build, blah 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 blah. These will remain a concept regardless if you make it or not until you're able to prove that. And in order to prove that, you need to do stuff like this. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not me saying I own all of the builds that I've ever posted, bloody bloody blah, you're all copying me. Simply just because I get my information from IKEA, Rousey, Hutchler, Frost, Dispatch, Blake Morris, etc, etc. And they all put their information out publicly for everyone to actively use. My point is, unless you are the original source of the information, no one's copying you. And I'm sorry to tell you, strikers with clutch and ridgeways, you were not the original source of the topic. Nor was I. I've got no idea who it was. I'm pretty damn certain no one really knows who it was, simply just because YouTube is a cesspool of randomness. So unless you're able to find the original source of the topic, you've got nothing. No one has stolen your build. No one has copied your build. People might have made adjustments. People might have seen it and gone, actually, that's a good idea. But you put it out on a public forum. Welcome to the internet. The best any of us can do would be to cite and credit the people that we ourselves learned it from, which I endeavour to do simply just because I would consider it good manners, good form. Now, shockingly, where I got the original idea for Ridgeway's Strikers Clutch was in the days yonder when Perfect Clutch, Negotiators and Ferocious Calm were pretty much the absolute meta. I tried to recreate that by utilising Ridgeways with Sadist, Strikers for the DPS, and Clutch just because I wanted to see if Clutch was even remotely viable in a PvP setting, since due to its nerf, whatever you want to call it, it has basically been phased out. I wanted to see if there was any way, shape or form it could be brought back in. I'm afraid to tell you where I came up with the idea for this is simply in my own delusional little rabbit hutch, which I call my brain. Have fun, good luck. Stop accusing people of shit you don't understand.